Hey guys, how's it going? On this week's video, I'll be breaking down the dumbbell overhead press. Now, some of you guys have been asking for a video breakdown of how we handle overhead work. And it took me a while to get here because I wanted to give you guys some more exposure to other shoulder-specific drills before tackling on the overhead position. Because when we go into the overhead position, we are now deviating from a lot of the established framework that we've had in previous videos. By that I mean, if we're doing any kind of pressing, we are going to cue protraction. We're going to want serratus to kick in. But for overhead work, leverages change things, so we're no longer looking for contralateral abs to help us with retraction. We're actually going to look now for ipsilateral abs as we get into retraction to allow for upward rotation to be taken care of by the traps. Now, as I've said in previous videos, we don't want lat involvement on pretty much anything. We can choose to incorporate it much later on down the line, but when we're still learning a lot of these skills, we don't want to recruit lats because for the most part, because of their real estate on the lumbar spine, once lats contract, they're actually just going to push the lumbar region forward, and in essence destabilizing the thorax. And we're going to want that rib on pelvis position if we're going to try to push anything overhead. So without further ado, here's the drill. We're going to shift. We are going to get internal rotation of that hip, posterior tilt, get heels, adductors, hamstrings, you know the drill. We're going to exhale, get obliques on that same side of the pressing. We're going to abduct, retract and elevate, hold on to these other references as we press. From the side, same thing. Shift, adductors, hamstrings, heels, exhale, retract and elevate, press. So there's a few things to take away from this little video demonstration. The first of which is observe how light the weight is. For this particular video, I used a 10-pound dumbbell, but most of our clients are working somewhere in the range of 5 to 8 pounds. So you can't go super heavy with this drill specifically because we are not adding localized tension into the equation. Like, we're not relying on lats to get into this overhead position. We're actually relying on traps mostly and obliques to hold everything together, okay? There's simply no way that we're going to be able to really load up this drill because we're working on integrating everything from top to bottom. So we're still looking for that hip shift, we're still looking for internal rotation, we're looking for internally rotated lower ribs on the same side that we're pressing, retraction and elevation. So there's a lot of things to stack into it. Now, another thing to notice is that generally when we're cueing retraction on a drill, at least for all the drills previous to this one, whenever we're cueing retraction, we're typically pairing that with contralateral rib internal rotation or internal obliques. So let's say if I was actually going to be retracting on the right, we'd want left internal obliques to help give us that abdominal pressure, give us that positioning of ribs on a pelvis. Once we go into overhead, the dynamic has to change, okay? Now we want ipsilateral internal obliques to be paired with scapular retraction and elevation. Okay, because now serratus isn't going to have as much leverage to be able to help manage this overhead position. All right, to say nothing for lats. Like, we're not going to be able to use this ginormous monstrosity to push us into lumbar extension in order to manage the weight overhead. Okay, so light weights. This is a very nuanced exercise, very nuanced drill. There's a ton of ways to screw this up. Lumbar extension, rib flare, lack of hip IR, lack of lateralization, lack of sensing adductors, hamstrings, and pressure on your heels. Yeah, there's a ton of ways to mess this up. It's really foreign. It's really weird. The first couple of times that you do it, you won't be able to do more than a handful of reps. So take it easy. Maybe just start with an empty fist, an empty hand, going and pressing overhead. because it's such a foreign thing. You're not going to see too many people coaching it this way. Really, no one outside of our little group. Like if you see anyone coaching it this way, they probably learned from one of us. So having said that, this is how we integrate overhead work, particularly in the dumbbell press. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comment section below. Hit me up on Instagram at @MejorStrength, and I will see all of you next Tuesday.